Hello, everybody. My name is Sophia Palka, and I'm a senior at Mount Tabor High School, and I also attend a lot of classes at Career Center. Today I'm going to be talking about my little brother Victor, who has a condition called Pitt-Hopkins syndrome, and how he has inspired me to do scientific research. So this is Victor. He was diagnosed with Pitt-Hopkins syndrome in 2007. He is the absolute love of my life, and he inspires me to keep pushing onwards in the face of many hardships. He endures many hospital visits under sometimes life-threatening conditions, and while it's really hard to watch him go through all these things, my family and I have decided to dedicate our lives to finding more about Pitt-Hopkins syndrome in order to help him. So what is Pitt-Hopkins? Technically, it's a deletion or mutation of the gene TCF4 on the 18th chromosome. So basically what this means is if each of us has a set of encyclopedias that make up our DNA, Victor's missing about 100 pages. But these 100 pages are extremely important as they're really critical in early brain development. And so because of this, Pitt-Hopkins is characterized by autism, developmental delay, learning disability, apnea, epilepsy, and pretty severe gastrointestinal issues. When Victor was diagnosed, there were only about 5 children or 5 people in the world who were diagnosed, but my parents helped to found the Pitt-Hopkins Research Foundation, which is an international organization, and now we have about 600 people in the world diagnosed, and these are some of the images of them. They're all amazing, amazing kids. So my first step in science began with a science fair in the 6th grade when I was 11. I spent my winter breaks in the Wake Forest biology department in the basement, holed up doing experiments with fruit flies who had autism and specifically Fragile X syndrome. And so I was able to test a drug on them that ended up completely reversing the autistic symptoms in the male fruit flies. And so I won the state science fair for this 2 years in a row. So the next year, I got the opportunity to work on Pitt-Hopkins syndrome, which had been my dream, and I was able to work on a mouse model of it. And so I was at the neurobiology and anatomy department at the Wake Forest Medical School under Dr. Carol Milligan, and my main research question was looking at whether or not there were any gross anatomical differences in the Pitt-Hopkins brains as compared to neurotypical brains. Some of the researchers at the University of Alabama that our foundation had funded sent me some brain tissue to look at, and so what I did was the basic way that many researchers look at neuroanatomy is this is like a 3D rendition of the brain, and we use a technology called a cryostat to take very thin slices from the brain, which you can see displayed here, and mount it on slides. And so we can stain them using different chemicals through a process called immunohistochemistry. And so this particular stain stains all the nuclei in the brain, so it's a way to look at the basic neuroanatomy of the brain. So I looked mainly at cortical lamination and pycnotic cells, and I found that there was really no gross anatomical differences within the brain, within the Pitt-Hopkins brain, which was really encouraging for our research. But at the same time, this was still some preliminary research, and it would be great in the future to have more funding to continue this research. So currently, I'm working on a research project at the National Institutes of Environmental Health Sciences. I was selected as a summer intern, and I'll be back. They've invited me back next year, as well as working remotely with them throughout the school year. And so our lab is looking at a neurotransmitter called norepinephrine, which is extremely important in regulating stress. And it's present in the front of the brain at a very early age, but we basically know nothing about what it does there. And this also has a lot of implications within autism, which is very exciting to Pitt-Hopkins as well. So in the future, I'm going to continue my pursuit of science because of Victor and how much he inspires me. But the main message I want to leave everybody with, especially to my generation, is I'm not the only one who can do this, and I'm not certainly the only one who is doing this. For example, Anaya is doing amazing work as well. But I just want to encourage everybody else to just reach out and grab any opportunity that you can find. Because there are a lot of opportunities out there, but it's just our job to seek them. Because we're in the next in line to inherit a hard but increasingly hopeful world. It is a sometimes dark world, but it's constantly brightened by people with smiles like Victor. But in order to make the world the best it can be for them, we still have to work for it. It's not simply enough to sit on the sidelines, because we have the power to change the world. Because when life hands you lemons, you don't just simply make lemonade, you can make electricity. Thank you so much to everybody.